Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Funduro. We're gonna sit around in a circle with some melted cheese, and get all immolated and stuff. I am very attractive, and with me, as always, is an accountant far better than Trump's in Panama, Mike Magas.
That's true. I'm gonna be laughing for a week after I realize the whole thing about Panama. It's hilarious. It's great. It's fantastic. If you don't know what we're talking about, I mean, don't really worry about it. It's really unimportant. It's just amazing to be. Oh God, Josiah Jerome.
He is testing out the track limits before the race begins.
Spinning out there. All right. Well, we're at Imola for the Enduro round. This is our third to last round of the season, I do believe. 2 rounds after this, I think, in October and November. And then we don't have one for December because, I mean, let's face it, that's like Christmas and New Year's and all kinds of stuff. And nobody wants to commit to an Enduro race for that.
Gonna do the New Year's Day hungover as shit and eating raw cheese right off the block race.
We are with John Spriggs here, who has yet to put up a lap time. You will know John Spriggs as Moly Moly. He is elected to go with his actual name, I don't know, of John Spriggs. And he is coming to the line here to try to get a last-second lap time in here for Imola, and he is going to do it. And where is that going to put him? That is going to put him in 9th place. So he pipped Luciano Ichazo for 9th place there.
John the Big Twig Spriggs.
Surprising, you know what? Really surprising top 5. Andrew D will start on pole, which is surprising. Josiah Jerome.
D nice.
Fumihiro Kobayashi, also a little surprising. Bertrand Barrier, 4th. And Ariel Zatoni, 5th. And in the GT4 category, it is Liam Curtin, Zifo Duran, Alex Loeffler, Scott Nick, who is returning from a long time away, and Sergio Mengual.
Perhaps true. Whoa, we got a double car. I like that. Mm-hmm. Combined power. They now have a V24.
This is what happens when you run out of pit stalls on a track. You get people who get to combine into the same car.
Can you imagine the length of a hood on a car that had a V24?
You know what's the interesting thing is I've yet to figure out how Race Room figures out how many cars a track can support, because we originally thought it was pit stalls. Like, you have 30 pit stalls, you get 30 cars, sort of thing. It's definitely not the case, because as you can see, it doubles us up, so we haven't figured it out. Like, for example, Hockenheim, which is one of the highest tech German tracks, can only have 34 cars, but Zolder, which is a piece of shit Belgian track, and this is not meant to be a nationalistic thing, to be clear, I just hate Zolder, can have 36. It's a bit weird. It's confusing.
Do you not have the fine motor control to do expert Zoldering?
I do, actually. Oop, red lights. Here we go. Whoa. That's a really bad start by Andrew D. And Josiah Jerome's got the jump on him. Max the Sandbag Simmons. By the way, actually, I'm moving it right now in commentary for the duration of the Tier 3 RWB Super Series. Oh, God! That was... I don't know who that was in the Max Ways car. It's one of the BMWs. Contact also between Ichazo and Zatoni. And Zatoni into 4th place ahead of Max Sandbag. Barrier, I think, is the one that was spinning in the background. Kobayashi's also towards the back as well. Mike Magas has slipped to the back of the GT4 field, so problems perhaps there. And it is Josiah Jerome leading from Andrew D, Martin Evans, Zatoni, Sandbag. Then it's Duran, Curtin, Perez Torres up to 3rd place. Hell of a start for him. James Butler and Alex Loeffler. We ride on board with John Spriggs, who is battling for top Porsche honors with Max Sandbag. Anyways, I'm calling Max Simmons Max Sandbag because dude's in Tier 3 in the Super Series. How did that happen? Max, share us your Sandbag sequence. We need to know.
Well, key to victory there is you just take half the air out of all the tires, and then
Did you just run all of your tiering laps with the pit limiter on or something? I don't know. I'm at a loss to explain that whole thing.
You just removed 1st and 2nd gear, that's all.
Also, you can remove 1st gear from most of the GT3 cars, and it wouldn't actually make a ton of difference.
That's fair.
Ooh, one of the BMWs is limping around the track. I think that's Alex Loeffler who's dropping back. So problems for Loeffler. Sergio Mengual, who qualified quite well, is back in 6th behind John Barker. Sat in on the stewarding review for the Super Series today, and relatively low accidents. Barrier is buried in the sand trap. I'm not sure if he can find his way out of there. So it looks
Perhaps
like
there's a barrier between him and victory.
the fact that him and Kobayashi, the fact that Kobayashi's still behind him suggests that I think Barrier and Kobayashi are out of the race, and we are down to 19 cars as we pick up with the battle for the GT4 lead between Zifo Duran and Liam Curtin. I do like Liam's car. It's actually one of the nicer liveries, I think, around. The gold, the red, the black. Just makes a really nice combination.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you could use a little orange, a little blue.
Does orange and blue really go together on a car? I can't think of an example of that really working.
Seems to work for Gulf Oil.
Yeah. I was, yeah.
Which was the joke the whole time?
The light blue. Yeah, I know. I ruined it. It's my fault. I always forget Golf has blue in their colors. I mean, it's really? A very light blue color. I guess is what it comes down to.
Oh, see, there you go. That's how Max was able to sandbag that hard. He just literally has to hit every curb. Otherwise, his OCD kicks in.
Hello, goodbye. Spin! Scott Nick will pick up 7th place. Scott Nick got off to a bad start. He's back a fair ways, and that was, I think, Mauricio Delgado spinning out. So Delgado slips to the back of the pack. I think we might have lost Alex Loeffler because that gap keeps growing, which suggests that he's either in the pits or he is out of the race. We did see him limping around, so there was definitely something wrong with his BMW.
He did not endure.
No, he did not. So I think puts us down to 18 cars. Here is Luciano Ichazo, who is behind Wayne Hutchison. And in the background there, Richard Higgs is moving very slowly. And I'd like to get a look at his car, because it looked a little damaged in one of the shots, but he looks okay. It just looks like he has no pace today. So back to Liam Curtin, trying to chase down Zifo Duran. It's been an interesting season for Duran in the Enduro. He's had a lot of really, really good results, but a complete lack of reliability has actually not really made him a championship contender despite having something like 3 wins to his name.
Well, I mean, to be fair, those wins are only worth 1 point each.
They are not.
They're the really low-scoring wins.
So GT4 standings right now. Duran leads from Curtin. You can see Javier Perez-Torres in the background in 3rd. Butler, then it is Barker, Mengual, Nick, Magas, Delgado, and presumably Loeffler is out of the race, but if he is not, he is in 10th place.
Nick Magas? Is that like a cousin of yours?
I actually do have a cousin named Nick Magas.
Nice.
Well, not a cousin. He's a something.
He's adopted.
Something in the family. Well, I mean, the thing is that my adopted grandfather's name was Nick Magas.
Also adopted.
We called him Uncle Nick. Because he's his actual relation to us was great uncle, but he adopted my dad. So
no, fair enough.
Yeah, because he's married to my actual grandmother's sister, who adopted my dad when he came to Canada. And that's how we got the last name that isn't actually biologically ours.
Does that make you your own grandpa?
No, it does not.
I'm my own grandpa.
So Curtin trying to track down Zifo Duran. And then further on, there is actually a second member of the family named Nick Magas, who is... I think it works out till he's like our 3rd cousin. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I did find a genealogical or genealogical explanation chart on how that works with cousins. It's like first cousin, second cousin, once removed, twice removed, thrice removed, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it kind of was very enlightening, and I've forgotten all of it. So
I've looked it all up. Like I know what a first and second cousin are, and then after that it gets hazy.
It is people.
First cousin is your cousin, the literal thing. I have 2 of those. And then you get to the second cousin, which is your parents' cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have many of. My mom has like something like 27 cousins. It's a bit insane.
That's a bit nuts.
Bit nuts. It's what happens. It's what happens when you're my grandmother comes from a big family, and then on top of that, they all have big families.
That would have been an interesting scene in Full Metal Jacket. Did your parents have any children that lived? Yeah, lots.
Lots. I don't know if I can name them all. I can name like maybe 6.
They're all named Slobodan.
No, that's the wrong side of the family, sir.
They're all named Stalin.
That's also the wrong side of the family.
They're all named Goering.
Closer. They're Polish and Irish. Oh, that is Delgado off again, I think. So he is having a bad day. It would be fair to say, I think.
Polish and Irish. It's Donny Omalisevich. The O and the apostrophe.
That would really fuck things up. Yeah. Oh, Liam Curtin with a brave move there into Tamburello, but cannot hold it on the exit as they head down to Villeneuve, which I think I just talk about this on the onboard during this race. It's a bit weird that so for those unaware, and Byron is probably amongst them.
Hey.
This track was basically built and is largely owned by Ferrari, the family. In fact, it's actually the Enzo Adino Ferrari circuit in Imola is the actual full name.
Hey, I could hear you waving your hands around while you're saying that out loud as mandatory.
Anyways, what I'm getting at is it's a bit weird that, as far as I know, anyways, and I'm not I don't know classic sports car racing, so it could be completely wrong. It's a bit weird that there's only one corner on this track that I think is named after a Ferrari driver. You'd think that like a Ferrari-owned track, Ferrari-created track, and so on would be very Ferrari with its naming. But it is not. Because I think only Variante Villeneuve is actually named after a Ferrari driver. Now, mind you, Tamburello is a name, so maybe that's just someone I'm not familiar with. But of course, Gilles Villeneuve it has a corner named after him. Surprised Peter Collins doesn't have a corner named after him here, because by all accounts from the Ferrari documentaries I've ever absorbed, as Liam Curtin goes for a move there into Ravazza, and may have gotten the lead, and he did. And of course, in typical race room fashion, the camera went off the move when he completed it. Anyways, throughout all the Ferrari documentaries I've consumed over the years, Peter Collins, who was a British driver in the 50s for Ferrari, was very, very close with the family. And when he died, it was a big mourning within the family. So it's a bit weird that he doesn't have a turn named after him here.
Well, I heard he punched a kitten once.
It's possible. It's also possible that Enzo Ferrari would not care if you did.
These are true statements.
And the world that Enzo Ferrari lived in and the world that the rest of us live in, not the same place. We'll just put it that way.
Well, no, he lives in Italy.
Well, he's dead now.
Well, if you're gonna get technical.
Was there a continuation of that thought?
No,
or was it just... Okay. Just making sure. All right, so Sergio Mengual still on the tail of John Barker here. This is the battle for 5th place in the GT4 category. You can see Scott Nick in the background in the KTM. And in the foreground, that is James Butler in your least favorite livery, I do believe is your quote.
That may in fact be true. I wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's that yellow and
the yellow and gray garbage. Yeah, it's no good.
Is it your least favorite livery, or is it just one of your least favorite liveries?
I think it's probably my absolute least favorite, because the rest of them all just sort of are.
Oh, Mengual like getting to the back of Barker.
Most of the rest of them are like one particular color, which is fine. Or everybody seems to have a red, black, and white car, which is whatever. And it all sort of blends together. Occasionally there's an orange one, like the one in the background there. And
that's Javi.
Your boy, Big Twig Spriggs here has got a pretty interesting one. That's pretty cool. But I mean, it's not Gulf oil.
Yeah, no Gulf oil in the field today. Although the option to run Gulf oil does exist within the car selection we have here.
I feel as though I have been betrayed.
Luciano Chazo on the tail of Wayne Hutchett. Wayne doing quite well today. He's been struggling in this series, and the 7th place doesn't convey how well he's doing, but I just mean the gap between him and the leader is quite small for normal. So.
Because if you ain't Hutch, you ain't much.
After his surprise pole position, Andrew D has not really been able to live with Josiah Jerome and is about 4.5 seconds behind the Audi superstar driver. By the way, only Audi in the field, winning the race. Drive the Audi more, everybody.
Are we, we could say that Andrew D has a tropical depression?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Chazo's still on the tail of Hutchison as they head towards Variante Villeneuve. And Max Sandbag still on the tail of Ariel Zatoni. Good day for the BMWs in GT3. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place occupied by BMW. Not quite as good in the GT4 where they've historically dominated, although Zifo Duran and Javi Perez Torres are on the podium right now. John Barker's having a reasonably good race as well, down in 5th place. So certainly not a bad day, just not necessarily a great one either. Although the losses of Loeffler and Barrier on lap 1 not helping too much. There is a pit stop here today. We'll get to that when the window is open. Typical bet, as always, with the ESR broadcast here is, will Max Simmons be the last guy to pit? What is your call, Byron?
He's going to crash in the next 2 minutes. Okay,
we got a DNF for Simmons is the call.
Probably not accurate at all.
He is that plaid Porsche there in the shot, 3rd in line. Currently running in 5th place. Has John Spriggs applying the pressure, and ahead of them is Ariel Zatoni and Martin Edmonds. So what are your thoughts on Martin Edmonds' car? Because it's a somewhat similar color combo to James Butler.
I had not noticed.
It is on the screen right now.
No, that's Ariel Zatoni.
Ahead of Ariel Zatoni is Mr. Martin Edmonds.
Well, I mean, that's just yellow and white. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That makes you, it's like a creamsicle almost.
A little bit. A little more orange to be a creamsicle, I think. Oh,
depends on the flavor.
Max Sandbag gets up the inside at Tosa and takes 4th place for the time being. As they head towards Piratella.
That sounds like an ice cream.
It actually does. And then to Aqua Minerale.
The Minerale, the crunchy water.
This is one of the few tracks I think I actually know the name of every corner.
Nerd.
I mean, yes. I thought we established this a while ago.
Nerd.
But a good 4-way fight here for the GT3 podium, which is currently held by Martin Edmonds. He's got Max Sandbag, Ariel Zatoni, and John Spriggs on his tail.
Remember, kids, if your Aqua Minerale doesn't go crunch, not enough Minerale.
That's true. Just kind of eyeing for any other battles. The only really GT4 heated battle right now is Mike Magas is all over the back of Sergio Mengual, so hopefully we see some of that.
Just put him in the wall.
And Scott Nick is very close to James Butler, so I'd like to see that fight as well. In fact, actually, that is the fight between Magas and Mengual now, just ahead of the GT3s as they're coming through on the lapping traffic there. There is Magas in the BMW in the white, green, and blue car, and ahead of him in the red and white is Mengual.
Sergio the Mangler Mengual.
It's a solid nickname. He should thank you for that.
Well, I mean, that's true. I don't disagree.
So the blue flags has opened up a bit of a gap between Magas and Mengual as the GT3s navigate the GT4 Lotus car. This track is very hard on your suspension. You can see the very elevated curbs. Very easy to break the car here, especially at Variante Alta, which is the turn we are coming up to right now. And actually, we're on board with Max Simmons, which is great because you can see that curb there. But really what breaks you is those yellow ones right there that he went over. You could actually see it on the video. The suspension working to work that. And that is a very easy way to break your car.
But I mean, if you hit the curbs at just the right angle, you get air, right? So then that would reduce tire wear, and that's a plus.
You're not mistaken, although I would take the tire wear over the suspension.
That's what the suspension's for, though. I mean, suspension makes things go like smooth instead of bounce. So it's, it's supposed to be designed to take stuff like that.
I think only Martin Edmonds really needs to look into that because, of course, he historically murders his tires. Everyone else is fairly competent at.
Be sure to keep listening to commentary for these advanced strategy techniques.
Out of the box thinking.
Indeed. As an outside observer, I can tell you there are several dozen ideas floating through my head that may or may not work at all.
The weird thing is actually some of your ideas do have like some basis in actual.
Everything I say out loud has some basis somewhere, kernel of something. It has to come from somewhere.
John Spriggs getting very wide there. Not sure
Whoa.
why.
Corner shaming.
Yes.
That's fair.
We've been through this. I will corner shame.
Power slide every corner. Therefore, I don't know, but just do it.
Would be very bad for your tires. But Martin might as well do it.
If you do it often enough and you're really skilled, it just evens out over the course of a race.
It's always amusing when Max and Martin are battling for position because Martin's going to pit pretty early because he probably murders his tires. And Max is going to be one of the last ones to pit. So you're always going to get this weird dichotomy of like early pit, late pit strategy between the two.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, hey, Martin, let him go by and draft off that motherfucker and extend your tire life behind the guy who's never going to pit.
Sounds good.
Strategy. And also don't invade Russia in the late fall.
Very true. Honestly, just don't invade Russia, period, is my advice. But
well, I mean, I think early in the spring, maybe not early in the spring, but early enough in the spring.
It's just too big. It's just too big. You're going to be trapped there when the bad weather comes, and then it just doesn't work out.
That's why I invented the umbrella.
So Scott Nick is now up on the tail of Butler and John Barker. So Barker has come out a little bit on the bad side of this round of blue flags and has lost some ground. And we'll have to deal with the lone Porsche and not lone Porsche. Delgado's here, so one of the Porsches and the lone KTM in the field.
Porsche 911 is just a flat VW. Changed my mind.
I mean, you're wrong, but I'm not going to bother.
Can we get VW to make a van styled like a VW bug?
Kind of had that with the microbus.
Yeah, I guess. There are a fair amount of those up in my neck of the universe. And
not surprising.
About half of them are chop jobs, so they basically turned them into trucks.
Also not surprising.
It's pretty cool. If you see a really good chop job one, it's just a very odd-looking pickup truck.
Zifo Duran losing the plot a little bit there at Ravazza as Edmonds, Simmons, and Zatoni come through, and in the background you can see Spriggs. So John Spriggs has not made his way through the blue flags very well and has definitely lost the battle here for third place for the time being. I mean, we got an hour and 23 minutes to go. I mean, things are very fluid right now.
Including Martin's tires.
The only thing that we can say for sure is Kobayashi, Barrier, and Loeffler are not going to have a good day. And that is, oh no! Well, he's not going to pit late, I'm hoping this time, because he's lost his front end. Max sandbag in the wall.
Get out the welder.
Barker, Butler, and Nick still battling over the 4th base position in the GT4 class. Javier Perez Torres a little bit ahead of this. Then it's Duran. Then it's Curtin. Once Curtin got clear of Duran, he seems to be sprinting a little bit. He's up to about a 9-second lead there, so he's looking pretty good. And Andrew D is now 9 seconds behind Josiah Jerome. So, I mean, he's not here today, so I guess Jerome watch. 9 seconds ahead.
Get him, JJ. If Christoph Verstappen is just barely ahead of another car, does he also have the 9-second lead?
No.
Did you miss the language joke?
It doesn't really work. Verstappen's not German.
Bruh, hypothetically. You're the worst.
Just saying, there were better people to use for that joke.
No, because Christoph Verstappen is German. 9 second, no seconds. He does not have a full second lead. God damn it.
He's not German, though.
Isn't he? I thought
No,
Verstappen's German. Somebody else is Belgian.
Verstappen's the Belgian.
Oh, my bad. Who's the... Loeffler's a German.
Loeffler's a German, yes.
Well, substitute Loeffler in there and then edit it together like I was making an awesome joke.
Like you were a genius.
They speak German in Belgium. They've been invaded enough times.
Yeah, I think it is actually one of their official languages.
Still works. Still works.
Sergio Mengual under pressure from Michael Magas as we head down to the start-finish straight and then towards Tamburella.
We get a royalty-free version of Under Pressure every time somebody's very close. We could just very softly put it in the background.
It's got to exist. You would think. YouTube is recommending I watch a video called Nia Jax is unhappy with WWE, and I don't care.
Is it current or old? Because I don't think it matters.
7 hours ago. So, very current, apparently.
Yeah, boy. Mike Magas coming in hot. Sergio Mengual gonna put him in the wall. Here he comes.
I would never do such a thing.
Well, I mean, maybe you should.
Ooh, Mauricio. Nah, never mind. It's just Mauricio Delgado off the track.
I mean, just embrace the heel maneuver and start chucking up wins.
We've been through this. In the pro wrestling sim, I work much better as a face.
These are true statements.
The crowd loves it. The crowd loves it when I attempt to kill Jack Evans.
This is true.
Oh, did you see that the one true Kyle got himself a 4.5-star match?
Correct.
Oh, James Butler.
Serves you right, you weird hippie.
James Butler off the track and dropping back. He's going to drop back a ways, actually, because there's Mengual and Magas overtaking him as well. So, basically drops him back to the back of the GT4 pack outside of Mauricio Delgado, who, no offense, Mauricio, seems a bit lost for pace today.
It's because he is very drunk.
Could be. In the meantime, Martin Edmonds has really put a pretty decent gap between him and Ariel Zatoni after the spin out of Max, who I don't believe is pitted because the pit window is not open, so he's probably trying to drag it to that spot. I'm watching the gap between him and Richard Higgs to see. There we are. Pit window is open. I'm angling to see if Richard Higgs can make inroads into the sandbag.
And when one pit window opens, life opens a screen door. I have no idea.
I mean, I feel like you were going somewhere with that, but it didn't really come together.
No, that was pretty much as far as I was going to go.
All right, so the pit window is open, although I think realistically Max is the only one that should be thinking about a pit. He's got heavy damage to the car. Well, actually, now that we see the front end of Ariel Zatoni, that might be why Martin Edmonds is getting away from him. That is some serious compromised bodywork on the front, so he might want to consider a pit stop.
When life opens a pit window, make lemonade. An open pit window is worth two in the bush.
We're gonna take chicken shit and make it chicken salad. Brock
Gross.
Lesnar's wisdom. And John Spriggs is caught up to Zatoni pretty quickly and is looking to make a move here as they head towards Aqua Minerale. Nothing doing at this time. So we got 18 cars still running, and Simmons is into the pit lane, so we have our first pit stopper. He's the first one for a change, not the last one. But either way, he's either got to be first or last.
Well, I mean, if you're not first, you are last. The historical drama that is Talladega Nights has taught us this much.
That is a hilarious movie. Like even as a racing fan, as Zatoni goes off the track there and loses fourth place to Spriggs. Not much in the way of actually good racing movies. I mean, it's basically Ford v Ferrari and Grand Prix and Rush, and that's about it.
Days of Thunder?
Not bad. I'm not a big Days of Thunder fan.
Bullet?
I'm also admittedly not a big NASCAR fan, so that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah, that's fair. How about... What was that one with Sylvester Stallone?
Driven. I really enjoyed Driven's like action sequences, but the actual movie itself doesn't really come together all that well. Although it was kind of fun seeing all the kart drivers in there. You had Paul Tracy, Michael Andretti, Adrian Fernandez.
I like that part where they made the manhole covers fly in the air.
That was pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, like great visual action sequences, but not necessarily a tremendous movie in terms of the actual substance.
How about the documentary they did about the 1972 Le Mans called Cannonball Run 1 and 2? Or everybody's true favorite racing movie, Smokey and the Bandit.
I mean, that is a good movie. It's a very good movie.
Eastbound or down, something, something, something. Magas gonna put you in the wall.
Trying to find a way past Sergio Mengual at this point.
I keep telling you how to do it. You're not listening.
But then I might go into the wall.
Only if you don't do it right. So here he's going to slow down, and you just go a little bit faster, and you put your right bumper on his left bumper, and you go swivel. And then you drive fast.
Go on board with Michael Magas, still chasing the Lotus of Sergio Mengual, championship leader in the GT4 Enduro series. And speaking of leaders, that is the race leader Josiah Jerome in the green Audi just behind them.
He's gonna put you in the wall.
Josiah would never do such a thing.
Josiah, put him in the wall next time. Just teach him you can't predict. He's out of control. He's a wild card.
Ooh, a lot of smoke. Oh, Mauricio Delgado is sideways on track again.
He's a loose cannon.
Delgado is definitely battling with the car today, and it is showing.
I've decided just now that I'm going to refer to Matt Higgs as Cody 2 from now on. So I can keep doing the gimmick from Frisky Dingo. Cody 2!
At this point, I'm just calling him Little Butthead.
Oh, snap. You're going down for this, Cody. You're a loose cannon. Oh, Wendell.
I'm legitimately trying to think of other good racing movies, and there's nothing really coming to mind.
I got one for you.
Hit me.
Red Line.
No, not really.
Fuck you! Red Line's the best racing movie of all time. Maybe not, but kind of. Yeah, it is. Red Line's great. If you haven't watched, if any racing fans out there who want to have a fun-ass movie to watch, Red Line's great. Fucking kicking soundtrack, great weird vehicles. It's a sci-fi anime about racing on a planet that the military's trying to kill him for racing there. And then, no spoilers, but a little bit of spoilers. They may uncover like a bioweapon that is set loose, and then they got to race around that too.
Oh, and I will agree. The soundtrack for that is absolutely kicking.
Fantastic. Machine Head.
Andrew D working his way through traffic. Got past Magas. Hasn't gotten past Mengual yet, which may actually work out against Mengual because he's now got to give way at Aqua Minerale, and there was a little bit of a touch there.
Also, my final note on Redline, you can and should watch it with your significant other. There is an actual relationship storyline the significant other will enjoy.
What movie was I watched the other day? I watched The Tournament, which was quite good.
I ain't never heard of that one.
It's a tournament of assassins that are attempting to kill each other, and the last one standing gets a massive prize.
Is it the ability to kill people for money?
I think it's actually more or less the ability to have enough money that you don't have to kill people.
Oh, I suppose that's also good. If you kill all of these assassins, we will pay you to kill other people. But, so, like, is this all pro bono, or do I get a check at the end?
Mike Magas looking up the inside of Tamburello, but nothing doing this time around.
Bro, you can't just look up the inside of people like that.
This is a bit rude.
At least ask.
And in the background, that is Martin Edmonds, who is still running in third place, having a pretty solid day. So we got one Canadian on the podium, at least. No action pit-wise. Not surprising. We have over an hour to go. I would say we're looking at pit stops a little bit more. 55 to 45 minutes left in the race is probably the sweet spot.
Everybody's going to pit stop with 1 minute left. And that's a sprint.
That would lead to a lot of penalties.
I suppose.
Martin Edmonds makes his way through there. Next up will be John Spriggs. And Tony has fallen quite a ways back. Again, we did get that look at his front end. He does have some damage. Doesn't seem like he's going tremendously slow, but he is losing ground. And did out-qualify most of the people he's racing against, so this is a bit disappointing for him.
What if he's just having fun, man? Just out there having a nice leisurely drive at several 100 kilometers an hour.
I don't know if Imola can ever be described as leisurely. I think this is a track that's trying to kill you a lot more than most.
He's a man that laughs at death.
I mean, admittedly, 1994 almost had 3 drivers die at this track, so
holy
there's
shit.
that. Rubens Barrichello wound up in hospital after a serious accident, and Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna both died.
That was that race.
Yeah.
Something immolation.
Pretty much. And then Michael Schumacher went on to win the race, and it was like the most depressing podium I think I've ever seen. Ooh, as Mike Magas takes a trip through the gravel trap. '94, one of the most interesting Formula One seasons of all time. Very, very weird season, and not one that you really thought was going to be weird, because at the start of the season, it's like Ayrton Senna's at Williams. Williams has the best car. They have the best driver. Like, it seemed like honestly kind of like a boring foregone conclusion, and then the season just matched no one's expectations.
Because Rubens Barrichello literally won everything.
Literally won nothing. He did not win. We won nothing until 2000.
Wham.
Although, actually, if you're looking for an F1 race to watch, Rubens Barrichello winning the 2000 German Grand Prix for his first ever win from 18th on the grid is a fucking thing to see.
I can imagine so.
And it gets better because it wasn't even just that. Like, because you had Heinz Harald Frentzen, Ralf Schumacher, and Jenson Button all also running through the field because they all qualified bizarrely badly and were like just cutting their way through traffic. It's pretty impressive. As John
And then Jeremy Clarkson put their
Spriggs...
heads through a fan.
Speaking of Jeremy Clarkson, I did watch Richard Hammond and James May meet Supercar Blondie, and it's kind of painful because I don't really understand why she's a thing.
I don't even know who that is.
It's like a social media thing. She's a hot chick who talks about fast cars, but like there's no substance there. It's
they got one of those for World of Tanks.
They do. They've tried that a couple of times with World of Tanks, and I don't think it's ever really worked all that well. But
they should have just tripled Meathead's fucking salary.
Could be wrong. Well, it's the old adage, sex sells, and people will try. Javier Perez Torres does a good job of getting out of the way there as Spriggs and Edmonds go pretty aggressive under blue flags, if I'm being honest. But no harm, no foul in this case.
Martin Edmonds looking to break the big twig of John Spriggs.
There's another bizarre one that discovered a video of the famous Delatraz in F1 thing where he's driving so stupidly that the commentators are like, "What is he doing?" And it's hilarious because in the shot that's happening, Jean Alesi and Michael Schumacher are lapping him in the video, right? And someone in the comments is like, "You know what the irony is? Right now in F2, you have Giuliano Alesi, Mick Schumacher, and Delatraz's kid all racing. It's happening again." There is a bizarre amount of second generation Formula One hopefuls right now with Mick Schumacher, of course, is Michael Schumacher's kid. Ralf Schumacher's kid, David's in there. Giuliano Alesi, who is Jean Alesi's kid. Matteo Nannini, who is not Alessandro Nannini's son, but he is his nephew. Alessandro Nannini, by the way, finally became a race winner in his final proper year of F1. He's got in a helicopter accident and got his hand severed.
Wow.
Bit morbid and probably one. And to be honest, he was probably on the hot track to get a Ferrari seat. So that's like one of those random tragedies of the F1 world as well.
I bet you the insurance payout was huge, though.
I imagine so. Seems to be doing quite well for himself financially. Put it that way. Martin Edmonds trying to get back past John Spriggs, and Ariel Zatoni's closing it. He got past him at Ravazza. Edmonds back onto the podium for the time being. Grand rivalry between Martin Edmonds and John Spriggs. A lot of contact between these two has occurred, to the point where I think John Spriggs has a persecution complex when it comes to Martin Edmonds. And they are battling it out for third place here. So this will be very interesting, and where I would like the camera to not remain exclusively or anything, but pay very close attention to. Mauricio Delgado has had his pit stop and is now good for the end of the race. Still Josiah Jerome out front from Andrew D. And then it is this battle between Edmonds, Spriggs, and Zatoni. And maybe Max Sandbag can be involved in this after his pit stop, but we'll see. They're coming up to the second place GT4 of Zifo Duran. Not much changing in the GT4 category. The top five remains Curtin, Duran, Perez Torres, Barker, and Nick. Then it's Mengual, Magas, Butler, and Delgado. So nothing really has changed since Butler had his spin. That car does not look healthy, but he is putting up decent times, so could be mostly just cosmetic damage, perhaps. Famous Falcon Motorsports livery for John Spriggs. Speaking of Top Gear references, Richard Hammond actually drove the Falcon Motorsports Porsche in a tire test session where he could not get the tires up to temperature because he wasn't driving fast enough.
Better Google Cracker Beard.
Also, if you want like the height of James May of Top Gear, he has a video where he tells you he's selling his 1977 Ferrari, where it's being sold, what dealership is holding it, and then for the next 25 minutes explains why you shouldn't buy a 1977 Ferrari. An amazing amount of honesty from a man who is in fact trying to sell you the product that he is kind of crapping on. So Spriggs is still on the tail here. It seems like he's the faster of the two. He got by Edmonds and only lost the spot by a mistake, it seems. But I mean, the gap is not much in pace. I'd like to get on Edmonds to see what his fastest lap is. We got a 44.093 for Spriggs. I wonder where Edmonds is in relation to that.
Right behind him.
Well, right in front of him.
That's the irony.
They are coming up to the GT4 class leader, Liam Curtin, who is 16 seconds up. Oh man, my God, the gaps between the leaders in both classes are ridiculously close. It's 16.4 for Josiah Jerome, 16.9 for Liam Curtin. So the winners are kind of, I mean, they haven't done their pit stop, so there's plenty of chance to screw up here, put in not enough fuel or whatever, but the pace definitely has indicated that we have two distinct favorites as Spriggs is looking down the inside of Tamburello, but I don't think he can get that. No. Edmonds is going to outdrive him out of the corner and head down to Variante Villeneuve. Who's your pick between these two? Well, I guess these three, because Zatoni's right there. Do you think it'll be Edmonds? Do you think it'll be Spriggs? Or do you think it'll be Zatoni who triumphs and gets that podium position?
I think Ariel's going to put them all on the wall.
Could do. Heading down towards Aqua Minerale again from the onboard of John Spriggs. Taking those curbs pretty aggressively. Oh, down the inside of Variante Alta. This could get interesting. Actually didn't. Edmonds got a way better run through there. Coming up to the Porsche of Mauricio Delgado. And that is handled fine through Avasa over to the start-finish straight. There used to be a chicane in this section of the track in the early EA Sports F1 games, like 2000, 2001, 2002 sort of deal. And the AI could never do it properly. So whenever you did like career mode and you got to the San Marino Grand Prix, even if you were like on the highest skill level possible, like really high skill level, and you were like in a terrible car, so you were being realistic basically, you could still get a win here just because the AI would like all crash out at the chicane because they couldn't navigate it properly. It was hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Like they could navigate it properly if they were alone, but like it was once they were battling with like any other car in the chicane, it's just over, like crashes everywhere.
Makes lap number 2 very eventful.
Pit stop by Javier Perez Torres, so he'll drop to the back of the GT4 lead queue, but he was in third place before the pit stop, so still a podium potential runner there in the form of the Mexican-American and star bullpen pitcher for the Mean Machine. Should be getting some more pit stops as we go here. We're approaching halfway through. Halfway through is going to be about 52.5 minutes left. It's a little over 5 minutes to go to that halfway point. So this will be when crews are starting to ponder when's going to be the ideal time to make a pit stop and so on. Perez Torres' front end does not look healthy, so that pit stop may have been less planned and more headbutt related against the wall. So hopefully his BMW is okay, but he has fallen down a lap to Butler. So I did say he was a podium potential guy. That might not be the case anymore.
Whoa, no faith in the ultimate power that is Javier Perez Torres.
It's hard to make it up when you've lost a lap to the guys you're battling. That's
well, I mean, everybody else is gonna have to lose a lap
because
doing. Pit stops are now 17 minutes long.
Oh, that'd be more than a lap. Whoa! Spray's got a little bit aggressive there into Peralta or Piratella, pardon me, and then into Aqua Minerale. But
this is about peristalsis.
Oh, Spriggs loses it. And that's going to let Zatoni up into third. Or into fourth, pardon me. And Edmonds gets to breathe a sigh of relief. The pressure has been relieved just a little bit.
Not for long.
If I'm Ariel Zatoni, I am pondering a pit stop soon. That front end has got to be costing him a little bit of performance. And if he can get that fixed up, he'll probably be in a better chance to take the fight to the podium. Obviously, you don't want to rush it, but we're in what should have been people's pit window plan, or like within like 3 to 5 minutes of it, anyways. Now would be not a bad time to get in the pits, get the service, get the car fixed up, and get some fresh tires on.
Dear Race Room, can we please change all of the engine sounds to the speeder bike thing from Star Wars?
That would get old real quick.
Not for me.
But it would be fun. It would be fun for a bit. Spriggs in the pits, which may or may not be damage related, depending on what happened there with the spin. Oh, James Butler is not looking super healthy. Looks like he's lost his bonnet. Which, of course, begs the question. Oh, as he spins, does he by his pretty floral bonnet wish to end you?
Perhaps.
So things have gotten worse for Butler and Perez Torres, and then it's going to work out to the advantage of John Barker, Scott Nick, Sergio Mengual, and Michael Magas. And in fact, speaking of Mengual, he is trying to track down Scott Nick for 4th place on track.
I tracked down Scott Nick once.
How'd that go?
He smells different when he's awake.
It's good to know. Better? Worse?
Couldn't say. I mean, legally, I'm not allowed.
There's a legal injunction and everything. There is Sergio Mengual up into 4th place. John Barker must be in the pit lane or has fallen back. I'm not sure which. But he is shown now back in 7th for the GT4 contingent. I think he's in the pits. That is the one thing that the overlay here for Race Room is kind of lacking, is there should be like a little P beside people in the pit lane.
Yeah, I usually pee on people in the pit lane myself.
There, can confirm Barker's now served his pit stop, so he was in the pit lane, but the some kind of indication that they're in the pits would just be a little bit helpful. On board with Sergio Mengual, has overtaken Scott Nick and is now 3rd place on track, though probably behind Barker in practicality in 4th. But the Lotus is doing quite well today once again. I'm not sure if that's a sign that the Lotus is maybe an underrated car, or if it's just that the guys we have in the Lotuses are just really solid drivers, because Liam Curtin and Sergio Mengual, of course, are quality drivers. I know Shannon Flynn does pretty well in that too, though. He's a driver that hasn't been rated terribly highly, so maybe a car that we've overlooked in the past.
You kids and your low tie.
Is that low tie or low tie?
I couldn't say.
Not much to report in the GT3 category. It's still Jerome, D, Edmonds, Zatoni, Achazo, Hutchison, Higgs, and then Spriggs and Simmons have pitted. Chazo throwing up a little bit of smoke there. He's picking up a spot over Zatoni, so that probably means Zatoni's in the pit lane. Becoming the third GT3 to complete his mandatory pit stop.
Be sure to buy his new album, Ariel, Zatoni, and the Z-Tones.
It's a catchy name. John Spriggs working his way through some traffic as he is on the tail of Richard Higgs. Now, this is the problem with the early pit stop, of course. You got Spriggs out here. He served his pit stop. He's trying to fight for the podium, and he's caught behind Richard Higgs, who's not pitted yet, and is probably a fair bit slower than him, but is under no legal obligation to let him through.
Get good.
It does look like he has overtaken Zatoni, which is not terribly surprising. Zatoni was... drive-through penalty for Ariel Zatoni speeding in the pit lane.
What an evil human being.
It's going to take him out of the equation as far as the podium is concerned, at least for a little bit.
Is this proof that Ariel Zatoni is truly evil?
I mean, he's not. Martin Edmonds in the pit. Speaking of evil, Martin Edmonds, his tires would tell you he's evil.
He's just an honest, hard-working driver, and it's not his fault that the tires just ain't going to keep up with him.
As we get a look at the inside of the Imola pit lane. Odds-on favorite for that third place. Martin Edmonds taking his service. Scott Nick still on the tail of Sergio Mengual.
Just in the nick of time.
Indeed.
I just gotta say that Far Cry 3 is the most cursed game I've ever played.
Do tell.
It crashes a lot. Like maybe every hour. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less.
So, ACC used to have a lot of instabilities.
But Far Cry 3 has been out since like 2015 or so, 2014. Yeah. No, wait. The latest, because it's Ubisoft, they do in-game notifications. The last one on the news splash page of just the start menu is 2013. So it's been out since at least 2011.
So an interesting thing here. Martin Edmonds has been in the pits and is actually behind John Spriggs now. So Edmonds got a really long pit stop going here, it seems, and this might put him out of the out of that podium contention as Luciano Ichazo comes in. So that was a bad pit stop for Martin Edmonds, because we were talking about how Spriggs was losing ground behind Richard Higgs, and he has beaten Edmonds out of the pits by something like 11 seconds.
Well, that's what happens when you need all 4 tires, plus a full tank of gas, plus an entire bodywork overhaul, and half of your shock absorbers require refurbishing.
That would be true, although I feel like he'd still be in the pits if that were the case.
Maybe. Maybe he's got his boys all jacked up on cocaine.
So that has gotten interesting. Andrew D has also served his pit stop, so we're only waiting on 2 GT3s, Richard Higgs and Josiah Jerome, to hit the pit lane. GT4, a lot more long runners here. Liam Curtin, Ziva Duran, Sergio Miguel, Scott Nick. battle we're seeing right now, and then Michael Magas. And I am surprised that James Butler has not pitted, because of course John Spriggs is in the wall!
Dang, man.
I was just talking about how it looked like he was the front runner for a podium, and he is in the wall, and he is out of the race.
Well, I mean, maybe he just superseded the race.
Crashed out at Ravassa by the looks of it. And that is going to hand the podium chance back to Martin Edmonds. And with the drive-through for Ariel Zatoni, I'd say he's got a really solid chance, because he's got 19 seconds on Wayne Hutchison, and then the only other, and I mean he's only 7 seconds behind Richard Higgs, who still has to pit. So I would say that has gone his way. Although 47 minutes, pardon me, is a long time to possibly mess that up.
Do it. So yeah, other than crashing, Far Cry 3 also forgets the video settings and resolution, and therefore it changes the resolution of my desktop when it goes to boot, which moves my desktop icons all over the place.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I get the same problem with Dawn of War, because Dawn of War just is so old that it's like, I don't recognize this resolution that you have. I'm going to change it.
Yeah. So it does that, and then yesterday it did all of that stuff, and my computer crashed. It was a lot of fun. So I've come to save a lot.
Whoa! Scott Nick trying to go down the inside of Delgado under blue flags. Both cars are off, and Michael Magas moving into 4th place. Moving on up to the east side.
Well done. That's the best move you made all day.
It's a fantastic move. I accept the accolades. I think it was move of the year.
Move of the entire eternity of time.
Actually, the amusing thing of Dawn of War is when you try to boot it up on a modern system, it sets itself to low graphics by default, because it doesn't recognize your graphics card.
Man.
It's like, man, your graphics card must suck. I don't even have it on the list here. Oh man, now I'm thinking of Dawn of War as Chris Jericho. You just made the list.
Correct. Chris Jericho, all gussied up in Dawn of War gear.
So Space Marine armor? Sounds more like actually a Kenny Omega thing to do.
Yeah, but that would be why the Jericho would do it, is to like out cosplay the hero.
No, Jericho would be a commissar.
Yeah, probably.
Chris Jericho, perhaps the greatest mind for professional wrestling we've ever come across.
These are true statements of the baby echidna.
Nobody else has been around since before the Attitude Era and still remains like fresh.
Top heel.
Top heel. John Barker letting Wayne Hutchison and Ariel Zatoni through. I think Ariel probably going to make short work of Wayne. Wayne's ahead of him because of that drive-through penalty that Ariel got, so I think the BMW should be able to get past the BWT Mercedes relatively shortly.
The PWB Mercedes?
BWT.
The PBR Mercedes.
And here comes the move, I think, into Tamburello. And Wayne's not going to fight that too hard. I think he knows that that's not his fight. Liam Curtin has lost the lead of the GT4 category, although I'm going to take a stab and say that based on the growing gap, that he might be in the pit lane, taking his mandatory service.
Welcome to the Pit Lane 500.
Mike Magas has been in and out of the pits and has come out behind John Barker, but not too far, only about 11 seconds. So that might come to play yet. Those two have been having a feud that has gone over multiple series at this point because they keep ending up being near each other in the championship as Sergio Mengual moves into second place, but that is temporary. Once he comes into the pits, he will fall at least behind Liam Curtin. Oh, Zatoni going off at Variante Alta, and that's going to let Wayne Hutchison back up into 5th place. Still a weird spot, though, because I don't think he feels like, if I was in his shoes, it doesn't feel like Zatoni really is the guy he's fighting with. Because, with 42 minutes left, you're not going to hold off a guy with the pace advantage that Zatoni seems to have. His battle really feels like it's with Luciano Echazo, although he's losing ground to him as well.
Time to put the nitrous bottle on standby.
As Martin Edmonds overtakes Richard Higgs. Richard Higgs is still not pitted. Josiah Jerome's been in. The only GT3 left to pit is Richard Higgs.
Better known as Sparkle Bridges.
Better known as Father of Little Butthead.
Oh, snap.
I do like how Richard was blowing up his son's spot with me. That was pretty good. Because I'm like, say, Richard, are you gonna race tonight? Or can Matt race? And Richard's just like, Matt can always race when I race. He's got his own system. I'm like, he says he can't race when you race because he needs the rig. He's like, he doesn't need a rig. He just needs to go build himself a desk. Javier Perez Torres becoming a fixture. Oh, God. Javier hit something very hard, judging by that front end. And Sergio Mengual in the pit lane. So we are still awaiting the pit stops of James Butler, Scott Nick, and Zifo Duran. Very surprised Butler is looking like he's going to be one of the last pit stoppers because he's been missing his bonnet for some time. And I imagine that Porsche needs some level of repair. He's actually in the pits now. Saw him dive in the pit lane there.
Dive. Can we get that modification? Can we get, like, the big submarine horn every time somebody goes in the pit lane?
That'd be interesting. That is Max Sandbag losing a lap there. John Barker back up into 4th place. Will probably get back up onto the podium once Scott Nick pits because he's only 41 seconds back. I believe that's well within the pit window for the KTM car. So Hutchison back behind Zatoni. Let's see if Zatoni can get through Variante Alta cleanly this time. Last time through was not great. Luciano Echazo is catching up quite a bit. He's got that gap down to 6.3 seconds to Wayne Hutchison. So he might be a danger man before long. And Zatoni does make it through the Variante this time.
But not next time.
So 3 cars still to pit. It is Duran, Nick, and Higgs. There is Andrew D. And Andrew D somehow lost out to Martin Edmonds. That's interesting. Did D maybe have to make a second pit stop? Because he was well clear of Edmonds after his pit stop. So I'm very puzzled.
Well, I was trying this new technique about where in the transmission, where if you just do the whole last half of the race in reverse, then you don't have any problems.
Oh, I see. Richard Higgs is in the pit lane, so that's the last of the GT4 or GT3s, pardon me. saw him A, dropping down the time charts, and B, saw him in the pit lane there. See if we can get a look at him here with John Barker going through. No, can't quite get a look. And Scott Nick appears to be in the pit lane, judging by his dropping through the standings. So while we still have one pit stopper to go, I think I can safely comment on what we're looking at standings-wise. Josiah Jerome leading the way from Martin Edmonds. Andrew D has somehow fallen to third, not sure how. Zatoni fourth, Hutchison, Ichazo, Higgs, and Sandbag. And then Zifo Duran is in the lead of GT4 right now, but still has to pit, which will put Liam Curtin in the lead. Duran probably in second place with Barker, Mengual, Magas, Butler, Nick, Perez, Torres, and Delgado still running. There is James Butler with his missing bonnet, which at this point theoretically has been fixed as good as it can, and it's now just weight saving.
Apply the duct tape and lean on it hard.
I feel like duct tape is more than duct tape's for man. Richard Higgs has been in the pits for quite some time. I wonder what's up with that.
He's having a cheeseburger, man. Leave him alone.
Or did he not serve his pit stop? Because the gap is not moving in a manner that suggests he's in the pit. Oh, okay, now it is. What is going on there?
Told you, man. He's having a cheeseburger. Leave the man alone. He's having a coffee break.
It's not advisable. Let's put it that way.
Hey, guys, you gotta come over to the concession, try one of these chicken sandwiches. They're amazing.
They're amazing. Delicious.
D-nice.
Also, just a quick shout out. I am doing another ACC guide video. If you have any questions you want answered, you can put them. You can contact me on the Discord, or you can put them here in the form of a comment on the video.
What does the second C stand for?
Competizione.
What does the third C stand for?
It's only 2.
Well, maybe there should be 3. Could be better.
Could be. Could be. I mean, that does seem to be Assetto Corsa's way. The original game was AC, Assetto Corsa. Now it's Assetto Corsa Competizione. So the next one will probably be ACCC.
And then the one after that will be the ACCCP, and it'll just play the Russian national anthem, or the Soviet national anthem nonstop.
Michael Magas is our on board. Not entirely sure why.
Because he's so sexy.
Ooh, Sergio Mengual's lost his front end.
Look at the nice curved headlights he's got. Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah, that spoiler is just like a little neat on the back end. Oh, Richard Higgs will drive.
Well, he was in the pits for a really long time, and now he's gotten a speeding in the pit lane penalty. There he is, actually coming to the pits now. Luciano Ichazo is now a lap ahead of Higgs, despite being behind. Higgs has still not served his pit stop. What is going on here with Richard Higgs? I think I know what's going on. I'm going to venture a theory, and Richard can confirm or deny if he wishes. He went in, he did his pit stop. It didn't clear the mandatory, which means I think he probably didn't change his tires, because that is the mandatory. And he's been trying to go into the pits to figure out what's wrong, and now has picked up a speeding in the pit lane penalty. So his race has gone quite badly because of an inability to clear the mandatory. So again, the mandatory pit stop is take tires, guys. Come on.
His race went bad, but I think Loeffler went from bad to vest.
Well, Loeffler made it like a lap.
It's a food joke, damn it. This is the worst case scenario, and it's literally a suitcase full of meat.
Herr Vogel, what are you eating? Sausage. German? Liverwurst.
You know you are a walking cliche, right? Yeah, I am okay with that.
I am Herr Alex Vogel. I am the German astronaut.
I actually started listening to that again, the audiobook. The guy who did R.C. Bray, the guy who did I guess they re-recorded it or something. But if you can find the original copy of The Martian audiobook with R.C. Bray, man, that guy does sarcasm on point, on target, unbelievably great.
Which would be mandatory for that story, I'd imagine. I have never actually read or listened to that book. It's on my list. It is going to be my next Audible purchase.
Hell yeah. See, now make sure it's the one with R.C. Bray. Or at least...
Oh, Max Simmons loses control there at Tamburello and spins it around. It's going to be my next purchase, which means I'm going to have it on the 10th of next month.
Mm-hmm.
That's when my next credit comes in.
It's fantastic.
That will be my thing. I'm re-listening to the Lost Fleet series right now.
Well, you're gonna like the next series that guy did called The Found Fleet.
The next series he did. See, actually, he has done series since The Lost Fleet.
Serii.
I don't remember what the next one was called. There was the next one, and there was Beyond the Frontier. That was what it was.
Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Liam Curtin letting some blue flags get cleared. That is Wayne Hutchison trying to hang on against Luciano Chazo. Chazo is definitely faster than Wayne. He's caught up to him quite rapidly, but catching and overtaking are two different things. And now, unlike in the case where Hutchison was caught by Zatoni, this really is his fight, as I think Richard Higgs has given up and parked the car.
If anybody out there has not seen the movie,
see if Hutchison
can
Rainbow, hold it on.
Do that, and come back and tell me what you thought.
Oh, Ichazo going down the inside, and he's got it done quite easily. I was speculating Wayne would be able to put up a fight, and looks like I was not right. And he's just leaving. He is just blasting away from Wayne. So Ichazo's got pace to spare, and probably is looking to catch up to his fellow Argentine driver Ariel Zatoni to try to take top South American honors. Looks like we've also lost Sergio Mengual from the race.
Isn't that sort of an oxymoron? Top South American?
I mean, you can still be top and be from the South.
But then you're standing upside down. You might as well be Australian.
I mean, you could be a top South American or Australian driver too. That'd be Daniel Ricciardo.
Well, you might fall off the edge of a Tasmanian into space.
True. This is a video about a New Zealand former F1 driver Brendan Hartley recently, where they just picked on his hair the entire time. It was hilarious. They're like, but he boldly recommitted to the sport and his desire to never get a haircut. Well, after an initial sprint away, actually, Hutchison's keeping him honest. Although the fastest lap difference is about 1.1 seconds. So, yeah, this battle was probably never quite a thing. And the gap is growing now.
And perhaps later.
So we're down to 15 cars. 7
That's too many.
GT3s and 8 GT4s. A rundown here. Josiah Jerome leading from Martin Edmonds. Andrew D is about 6 seconds back and is closing the gap. Ooh, Ichazo going a bit wide there. Then it's Zatoni, and then it's the battle you see before you. Luciano Ichazo. Oh, Zatoni's in the wall. Wayne Hutchison picks up 2 spots. From 6th to 4th.
Somebody let the rabbit out of the hutch.
And it looks like Zatoni might have rebounded into a Chazo, because they're nowhere to be found. Fate has smiled on Wayne Hutchison, who is now ahead of both the Argentinian drivers. Chazo in 5th, Zatoni in 6th, and then it is Max Sandbag. Liam Curtin leads GT4 from Zifo Duran, John Barker in 3rd, Michael Magas up to 4th, James Butler 5th, Scott Nick 6th, and 7th for Javier Perez Torres, 8th for Mauricio Delgado, who is still circulating despite having a pretty rough day. So good stick-to-itiveness from the Chilean driver.
At this point, you just stay on the track and you're going to win. Everybody else is going to crash.
I mean, you're at the very least taking a very large haul of points home. Speaking of which, that is Mauricio Delgado off in the sand trap.
Michael Magas, is it true that you, sir, have never enjoyed the firm caress of a corn dog?
It's true.
You son of a bitch.
I've been through this. I've never had a corn dog.
Well, you're going to have to wait because there's no fairs happening. Well,
you told me the fair is key to the corn dog.
Fair is key. It's an outdoor setting. It's hot. It's fresh. It's the best the corn dog's ever going to get. You can only put mustard on it. None of this ketchup shit.
I'm actually really not a big fan of ketchup, like in general.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with ketchup. It's just not something I go after. But on corn dog, is illegal.
Now, are we talking yellow mustard or proper mustard? Like, would you have a debate with Luke Thomas about this? For those who are unaware, Luke Thomas has a whole mustard thing where he's talking about, what was it? It was like, not yellow mustard, the real mustard. If you eat yellow mustard, you are a Visigoth.
I would start with the yellow mustard. Weird. Yellow mustard is traditional, but I have no problem if you want to go gourmet corn dog and put some fancy shit on there. Go right ahead.
He was sounding like Jay Landsman talking about Lester Freeman in The Wire. You know what he is? He is a Visigoth, a vandal of the board.
But once you have had at least one, probably 2 or 3 corn dogs at a fair, then you can start buying corn dogs at like convenience stores or like 7-Eleven, stuff like that. Because that's the second best you're going to get. And then after that, then you've had a taste for true greatness. Then you can buy them frozen at the store, and then you can do them yourself at home. But if you start with the ones at home, you're never going to really get the full experience.
I see. Josiah Jerome passing GT3 leader, GT4 leader in the same shot there. Josiah Jerome and Liam Curtin. Josiah watch. 50 seconds.
Jeebus Creebus, that's at least 1/8 of a lap.
Mike Stoppmill is envious of that.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Stoffmill. He doesn't get 40 seconds once, I think.
Still 50. Wow.
Now, Josiah, just don't put it in the wall.
Pretty much. Same to you, Liam. Liam's got 37 second lead.
Fucking Liam.
Z4
Damn black curtains.
Liam, you know what? I've been letting you off the hook, Liam, but I gotta vocalize it here as well. So I've been calling Max Sandbag, or Max Simmons Max Sandbag. Liam is also in Tier 3 in the Super Series. So
very nice.
Irish Sandbag, Irish Whiskey Sandbag for Liam Curtin.
Sure, and or Bigora.
Those two drivers are just very bizarrely placed when it comes to the tiers.
How convenient.
It's definitely a bit weak. Although Liam did not dominate the Tier 3 race that we did commentary for. Whereas Max Simmons more or less coasted out front and pretty much dominated proceedings.
And thus he will have 83 kilotons of ballast for the next race.
Good to have Scott Nick back on the grid. He's catching up a little bit with the somewhat, probably not terribly 100% car of James Butler. Good to see Scott again. Maybe we'll get him up in the commentary booth at some point.
Perhaps.
This race actually would have been ideal to get a third commentator in, but nobody bit. So,
what a bunch of cowards.
Not much coming up that'll really require that. In fact, the next commentary gig we'll have is the Super Series on Saturday, where I think we'll be doing Tier 1 again. I was telling some of the guys that it's a shame that we didn't get the last race commentary for Tier 1 because, well, RWB doesn't understand stop mill watch.
Correct.
I don't get it. They were like speculating, where did he get the pace from? We just accept it. We just accept that it's a thing. That he's going to dominate.
Live with it and move on.
And he did dominate at Suzuka, winning by a considerable margin. We'd let him. He's out of his cage in the Super Series because he's not running the BMW M6, which is one of the worst cars in the game. He's in the Lamborghini Huracan, and well, we let him out of his cage, and now he's gonna pile race wins to the sky.
These are true statements. Are they doing ballast or like nah?
No. Also, congratulations go to Matt Higgs, who was in that race. And after whining about being promoted from Tier 2 to Tier 1, he took I think it was a 6th or a 7th place. So
that's not bad.
He did quite well for himself. Not much really happening right now. Nobody's really close together. The closest battle is the one you see on your screen right now. Scott Nick trying to get up with James Butler for 5th place in the GT4 category. Gap is closing, so I think something will develop here eventually. In GT3, the closest fight is Andrew D. has got it down to less than 3 seconds on Martin Edmonds. Probably would like to see that because that gap was quite large, and it no longer is. So D is on a bit of a charge, and I'd like to see if he can take that 2nd place away from Martin Edmonds.
Twist his dick. Give him the old gentle twist.
That is a way of getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Chris Bosch approved.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Joey Ryan approved, which is not great. So there's that. Damn it, Joey Ryan. Why did accusations about you have to make it seem like your character is more than a character?
Well, that's the thing. Accusations are one thing.
That's true. It's true. Innocent until proven guilty and all that. Actually, the battle I was talking about between Edmonds and D is actually caught up to the battle we're watching between Nick and Butler. They're coming through now.
Choo-choo.
So the closest GT4 battle and the closest GT3 battle are both on your screen right now.
2 for the price of 1.
'Tis a double feature. I've somehow managed to avoid spoiling myself on the F1 race, which took place yesterday, and I haven't watched it yet, so I'm going to be watching that tonight.
Ricky Bobby won that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about F1 right now. Who won the race is not a spoiler, because it's probably Lewis Hamilton.
This may be true.
We are not in an... Oh, Scott Nick's got a run after a mistake there out of Tosa by James Butler, and that gets the KTM up into 5th place. See, this is what I don't like about the car, is that stupid windshield wiper being like halfway through the screen. That would bug me to no end looking out of the car.
Just wait until they introduce mosquitoes.
We're kind of in an F1 period where things are very Very dominated. I'm not gonna say unprecedented dominance because we had the Michael Schumacher dominance. Some would say the Sebastian Vettel dominance of like 4 straight world titles, but it never seemed like a foregone conclusion he was going to win them. So the dominance wasn't really there. Williams dominance before that, McLaren dominance before that. So like it comes and goes, but it has lasted a long time since there was really a proper threat to the Mercedes top spot in Formula One. And of course, it's not helped by the fact that Ferrari is having a terrible season, and every non-Ferrari fan is loving it. There's a podcast I listen to that reviews the races, and there's one token Ferrari. It's a British podcast, so they're mostly not Ferrari fans. They have one Ferrari fan that comes on, and anytime they do particularly poorly, the host is just like, "And Ferrari Matt is on today. Ferrari Matt, let me taste your tears. Let me bathe." Basically does the whole Scott Tenorman, Eric Cartman thing.
That sounds like a good, wholesome family podcast.
It's really not. It gets pretty dirty.
That's a joke.
This season's also been great because every time Matt starts moaning about it, you just hear one of the hosts just go, "Your tears, they sustain me." Martin is messaging me on Discord right now. So Martin, screw off. We're watching Andrew D catch you and look to pass you, and he might be doing it here into Tamburello quite soon. He's looking. He thinks he's got something. That being said, Martin takes the defensive line into Tamburello and will hold the position for now. But maybe Andrew D can go for the top Canadian honors at Villeneuve.
Maybe.
By the way, that would be an incredibly fitting place to decide the top Canadian of this race, because of course Gilles Villeneuve, probably the greatest Canadian Formula One driver of all time.
Even better than that guy that did that thing.
Yes.
Excellent. Well done.
I mean, the debate of greatest F1 driver from Canada is basically a two-headed race, and it's Gilles Villeneuve versus Jacques Villeneuve.
I can appreciate that.
Really it. Jacques is the only one that won a world title. Gilles is probably the most talented one. The only other one to win races. It's a pretty short list, really, for us, because it's like third place is like Lance Stroll. And people think he's the worst driver of all time. So there you go.
What about that guy, Pablo Tracy?
He never raced in F1. He tested in F1 at one point with Benetton, but he never actually raced for them.
Fair enough.
The only other Canadian F1 drivers, Bill Brack. Then you got Nicholas Latifi. That might be all I can think of, actually. So it's a surprisingly short list. No, Nicholas Latifi, not Elard Latifi. Elard Latifi would not fit in an F1 car. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, he's plenty short.
It's not the height. It's the broadness of that man's shoulders. Man is a 5'8" heavyweight. I mean,
These are true statements.
He's got that Igor Vovchinshin energy. So Edmund's still hanging on here against Andrew D. They're catching up to the top Canadian in the GT4 category, Michael Magas, and are going to lap him. 13 minutes to go. This is the only real battle I'm seeing, because Butler has dropped out of the race. So that's disappointing, because we were looking at a fight between him and Scott Nick that has devolved obviously into nothing. And yeah, I think No, Ichazo has caught up to Wayne Hutchison, so we might see some of that. We've also lost Ariel Zatoni. We're down to 13 cars running. It's been a battle of attrition here at Imola for sure. And Andrew D versus Martin Edmonds, and this fight between Ichazo and Hutchison over 4th place are the 2 real places to look for action.
And later on, the 4th and 5th place contestants are going to have to fight to the death with butter knives.
Martin is looking at wireless keyboards for his computer. So that's what he was mentioning about.
Well, that's easy. You just buy a not wireless one.
So what he wants is to be able to tell the computer to record and stop recording without leaving his racing rig. Which
you just yell at it.
Wow.
Oi!
We're not at Star Trek levels of voice commands. That would be good though if I could get a voice command set up for that. That'd be fantastic.
Oi, prick! And it would just start recording.
There we go. Luciano Ichazo all over the back end of Wayne Hutchison. We've seen this battle a couple of times, it feels like. And Wayne has not had the pace really to live with Ichazo, but he's driven a mistake-free race, as far as we know. And that might turn into a 4th place. And Andrew D. I will have to ask in Discord after this how Andrew D ended up behind Martin Edmonds, because we didn't get the answer on broadcast. And I am considerably confused. Actually, I'm going to ask Martin.
Martin, I won't tell you, because Martin put him in the wall.
Question has been asked. We'll see what happens.
Dear Martin, when did you put Andrew in the wall, and why?
How hard? D is looking down the inside of Tamburello. Nothing doing at this time. Josiah watch. 1 minute and 4 seconds. Holy crap.
That's quite a bit of business. I'm surprised he hasn't gone through traffic and then been run off the road.
Liam watch. 50.2 seconds. 50.4 seconds. The both divisions have been a masterclass in domination. I can do nothing but tip my hat to Liam Curtin and to Josiah Jerome. They have been in a league of their own here today.
Liam Curtin immediately promoted to Super Platinum status.
This has been a race that has had a lot of attrition in it. But, I mean, even before the attrition really started kicking in, both of those drivers had established themselves as the man to beat. And they have thus far avoided any significant issues. Trying not to broadcast or curse to anyone, because we're not broadcasting. We're doing a after-action replay.
I've already seen this race in its entirety in reverse.
Oh.
That's not actually true.
That would be really confusing.
Indeed.
I mean, Andrew D would probably enjoy that because he would come out in first place because he started on pole.
That's true.
And now he's looking for a way past Martin Edmonds. He looks like Tamburello is where he wants to make the play happen. Problem is Martin has been going very defensive into Tamburello, and it's been not really on. John Barker up ahead of them will provide a blue flag to work around. There's a light contact there through Tamburello. And Hutchison is still holding off Luciano Ichazo. They're coming up to some blue flag traffic here with Liam Curtin, Michael Magas, and also Javier Perez-Torres. Tip of the hat to Javier. I guess I can give away the fact that he was racing with about half of an engine for most of this race.
You just forgot to put the valves in some stuff?
No, he was running in third, and then he headbutted the wall. If you, when we get to his car, you'll see it's very misshapen at the front, and it did kill half the engine.
Wow.
So, but he soldiered on, and right now he's looking at a 6th place finish. And you can see the bonnet is quite misshapen. They keep saying it that way, so that I won't question the insanity of this plan. They're hoping that I will pause and think, fastest man alive, fastest man in space. But when physicists are talking about speed, they don't talk about fastest man in space. They're just hoping I won't. They're hoping I like how it sounds, and I do like how it sounds. We're going Iron Man. I need to watch that movie again. I need to watch the movie just to prep for the audio.
No! Don't do that. Don't use one to ruin the other.
I mean, it's already been done. I more or less have we're talking about me here. Like the problem with my memory is like stuff is committed to memory, and there's really no reliving it. Pressure on here with Luciano Echazo, still looking to get past Wayne Hutchison. Like it's the same reason I can recall who won the 1975 F1 title, even though I wasn't born yet and my parents hadn't been married.
Whoa. Because you're a time-traveling ghost. Trapped in the body of a mechanical rooster machine.
Whoa. I like where this plot is going.
I stole it from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Mm-hmm. All they know is good. Ball.
And sell your house to Danzig.
Water went down the wrong way.
Yes. What you say name again was? Danzig, motherfucker.
So we got Echazo on the tail of Wayne Hutchison. We got D on the tail of Martin Edmonds. It's a very similar situation in both cases. You've got the faster driver behind the slower driver, but the slower driver has gotten there for a reason. We don't know how Martin got ahead of Andrew D, and I noticed that he is not responding to me despite the fact that he was bothering me about wireless keyboards while we were recording this. We do know how Echazo ended up behind Wayne Hutchison. There was a couple of collisions and some off-track incidents. But kind of a similar case here. The more stable car, potentially, the more within himself, the less on the ragged edge car, leading a faster car that needs to find a way around. And in both cases, it's about a half second between them. There is nothing going on in GT4. I might as well say it. Liam Curtin leading by 52 seconds from Zifo Duran. He's 28 seconds ahead of John Barker, who's 33 seconds ahead of Mike Magas, who's 42 seconds ahead of Scott Nick, who's a minute 3 ahead of Javier Perez Torres, who's 3 laps ahead of Mauricio Delgado. So there's nothing happening in the GT4 category right now.
It's time
there
for
are 2 battles on this track. There are 2 battles right now to talk about. And it is D versus Edmonds, top Canadian honors on the cards, and it is Echazo versus Wayne Hutchison for 4th place. Who do you think is more likely to get the overtake done, Byron? Is it D or is it Echazo?
Probably D based on Martin's tires.
It's a good point. We are late in an enduro race. Martin has a history of making tire soup from they're actually closing on Josiah Jerome. I don't know if that means that Josiah's had an off-track incident or if maybe he's just chilling.
Got out of the car and punched a guy. Sort of an off-track incident.
I gotta think that he's just relaxing. He's not pushing anymore because that gap has been kind of consistently closing. Not in a manner that leads me to believe that there was like one incident. Chazo going for it. Instead, we're watching Andrew D put a lap on Scott Nick. No offense, but I would have preferred to see Luciano Chazo make the overtake of Wayne Hutchison happen. Apparently, he did it and is up into 4th position. There's the confirmation. Wayne is running behind Luciano Chazo. John Barker up ahead of them will be the blue flag for them to go through. Also, I was giving Javier Perez Torres credit. Also, credit to Mauricio Delgado, who is still running despite being 3 laps down on the next car and has not called it a day. And he's going to be rewarded, it looks like, with a 7th place finish.
Only if everybody else doesn't crash, and then he'll be in 1st.
I think actually at this point there wouldn't be enough time for him to make up the laps. So we are down to a little over 1.5 minutes to go here. So presumably this is the last lap to 2nd last lap that we're on right now. Depending on where Josiah Jerome is in the scheme of the track here.
He's just going to park it right in front of the finish line and then wait for the time to run out.
I mean, he might as well. It's got enough of a gap. Hutchison keeping up with the Chazo might have a run for him. Even if it really seemed for the longest time like if Chazo got past Hutchison, it would be a done deal, but it's not appearing that way. Andrew D still has not found the ability to go after Martin Edmonds outside of a few rather half-hearted attempts into Tamburello. Looks like we're going to get one more lap. I think Josiah has started the final lap now.
But it's dark and the werewolves are going to come out.
This is getting rather dark. There was also a very cloudy sky for this race, but of course, Race Room does not support any kind of wet weather. So
that's a bit weird.
Shame. Weather is a complicated thing in sim racing. Even Assetto Corsa, which has a weather thing, has like a completely inverted weather system, which a lot of admins don't like.
What do you mean inverted?
So basically, when you're racing, what you kind of want is to have like light rain be a really common, like dry weather to be your most common thing, then light rain, then like thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
The way it works, it kind of goes the opposite way, where the most common thing in its weather model beyond dry weather is thunderstorm, and it's like, but we can't race in this. Why would we want this?
I think the most common would be blizzard.
We had a thunderstorm going at a spa race we did. It was just a practice race. And we went out on the track and everyone's like, can we restart the session and get like different weather? Because like this ain't gonna work. Like we would hit Eau Rouge and it'd be a freaking lake.
I'm fine with it.
So Josiah Jerome is your winner. Not sure if Martin Edmonds is done, but it looks like he's going to take 2nd place. Maybe. I'm not watching the gap. It's closing, so I think Edmonds is still going for it. Hutchison is on the tail of Luciano Chazo here. They've worked their way through Piratella to Aqua Minerale. Hutchison's only real 2 opportunities are going to be Variante Alta and Rivazza if he wants to get past here. He's drawing quite close at Alta. And we'll see who's got more suspension left, honestly, to get through this corner. And whoa! Ichazo felt good about it. Last chance here for Wayne Hutchison. He's down the inside, looking to take the inside line into Ravazza. Can he get it done? I think he might. He's got the good line. He's pushing Echazo wide. Tightening on the last turn. Echazo gets a better drive, though, and will hang on to 4th place here today.
Well done.
But a good spirited attempt by Wayne Hutchison, and a 5th place to reward him for his efforts. Max Senbag coming to the line. Actually, he's already done. 6th place. And in the GT4 section, Liam Curtin, Zifo Duran, John Barker, your podium with Michael Magas, Scott Nick, Javier Perez Torres, and Mauricio Delgado. Getting to the end. Liam Curtin had lapped up to 2nd place in this race. Fastest lap he had was a 52.7. The next best was a 53.4. 7 tenths of a second. Wow. In the meantime, also rather similar 7/10 gap between Josiah Jerome and Andrew D on best lap as well. So absolute domination for both the winners here today. Congratulations to them. And Byron, you got anything you want to add here to finalize the whole thing up?
That was indeed a whole ass race.
All right. So that is all we got here today. I'm going to turn this over to Martin to handle and get it up onto YouTube. And I hope you all had a good day. We got a test race for the Brands Hatch round of 3D Speed coming up this Wednesday. Everyone is welcome to attend if you wish. That is a Assetto Corsa Competizione with GT3s.
But this isn't going to get uploaded until Friday.
No, it should be up tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And then we got the Super Series from Spa-Francorchamps on Saturday. That is our next official event. And it is not too late to get in on that. It's been good racing. So for myself and for my very handsome co-commentator, Byron Derksen, that is all.